Have you ever considered that the way you sleep could be a silent and deadly threat? For those of us over 60, there's a simple nightly routine that could be quietly raising the risk of a heart attack or stroke. It's a risk that strikes without warning, no chest pain, no slurred speech, no dizziness. You might go to bed feeling completely fine, but by morning, everything could have changed. You could wake up confused, unable to speak clearly, or unable to lift your arm. This is a stroke, sudden, silent, and life-altering, all because of a common sleeping habit. As a heart health expert, I've seen this tragic scenario play out far too many times. It's not always from smoking, a poor diet, or a lack of exercise. Sometimes, it's a direct result of common sleeping habits that many seniors believe are safe. Today, I want to walk you through 9 dangerous sleeping positions and nighttime routines that may be increasing your risk of heart attack, stroke, or blood pressure spikes, especially in the quiet hours when your heart is most vulnerable. If you or someone you love is over 60, this information could save a life, maybe even your own. Please don't look away. Let's begin. But before we dive in, if you find this video helpful, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss another health tip. If you enjoy this video, let me know by typing 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I can make better content for you. The peril of sleeping flat on your back. It seems harmless, even comforting, lying flat on your back, arms at your sides with no pillow. For many older adults, it's a habit that started decades ago. Some believe it helps with back pain, while others feel it opens up the chest. But here's the truth that almost no one talks about. Sleeping flat on your back, without elevating your head, can silently increase your risk of a stroke overnight, and you'll never see it coming. When you sleep completely flat, your head is on the same level as your heart. This might sound natural, but from a physiological standpoint, it's not, especially for older adults. As we age, the vessels in our neck and brain lose their flexibility. Blood doesn't flow as efficiently. The veins that are meant to drain blood from your brain must now fight against gravity. Instead of draining smoothly, blood can pool, slow down, and even clot, especially in the early morning when blood pressure naturally rises. When blood clots form during sleep, they don't stay quiet for long. One small clot in a narrowed vessel can lead to devastating consequences. Slurred speech, facial drooping, permanent disability, or even death. I want to share the story of Mr. Leonard Whitaker, a 77-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan. Strong and independent, he still fixed lawnmowers in his garage. Every night, he laid flat in bed, no pillow. A habit he picked up from his Navy days. He believed it helped him sleep deeply. One morning, his wife Mary found him half awake but unable to speak. One side of his face had fallen and he couldn't lift his right arm. A scan at the ER showed a clot in his left middle cerebral artery, an ischemic stroke caused by blood thickening and clotting inside narrowed vessels during sleep. His carotid arteries were stiff. Blood had pooled too long. Doctors worked quickly to dissolve the clot, but Leonard was never the same. His speech is slower now, and he uses a walker. Every night, Mary carefully props him up on a wedge pillow, something they both wish they'd known about years earlier. The medical community calls this compromised venous drainage from the brain. In simpler terms, your brain's plumbing system slows down, and stagnant blood becomes a breeding ground for clots. This position is especially dangerous for seniors with high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, sleep apnea, a history of carotid artery disease, or those on blood pressure medications that might drop pressure too low at night. The safest adjustment is a slight head elevation of about 30 degrees. This helps gravity assist blood flow, reduces intracranial pressure, and allows the brain to oxygenate more evenly. Even 1 or 2 supportive pillows can make a profound difference. Choose a pillow that supports the natural curve of your neck, not one that forces your chin forward. This isn't about comfort. It's about blood flow to the most delicate organ in your body. It's about protecting your independence, your memory, and your ability to speak and walk. Leonard told me with tears in his eyes, "Doc, if someone had just told me that sleeping flat could do this, I would have changed it years ago. Let me be that someone for you today." If you think that's concerning, wait until you learn what happens when you sleep face down. Bending your neck in just the wrong way and cutting off the very arteries that feed your brain. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, please comment 1 below to let me know you're with me. 2. The danger of the face-down prone position. Millions of older adults make a quiet mistake every night, sleeping on their stomach. It feels comforting and familiar. Perhaps you started doing it to ease back pain, or because you like the pressure on your chest. But I'm here to tell you something you may have never heard from your doctor. Sleeping face down can be one of the most dangerous positions for your heart and brain. In medical terms, this is the prone position. While it might not cause much harm in younger bodies, as we age, our circulation slows, our arteries harden, and our oxygen levels dip more easily. When you sleep face down, several dangerous things happen. Your neck turns sharply to one side so you can breathe. This compresses the vertebral arteries, which carry oxygen-rich blood to the back of your brain, a region that controls balance, coordination, and consciousness. This posture also places pressure on the carotid arteries. Blood flow is slowed. Veins that carry blood away from the brain become kinked, and stagnant blood thickens, forming clots. These clots can dislodge during the early morning surge in blood pressure, traveling directly into the brain and causing a stroke that is often massive and sometimes fatal. I'll never forget Mrs. Ethel Lawson, an 82-year-old retired school teacher from Ohio. Her daughter found her one morning lying awkwardly on her stomach, her speech garbled and her left side unresponsive. A scan showed a large ischemic stroke affecting her cerebellum. The cause wasn't high cholesterol or atrial fibrillation. Ethel's carotid arteries were narrowed with age, and the hours she spent sleeping face down with her neck twisted had reduced blood flow just enough to allow a clot to form. Ethel survived, but she no longer drives and struggles to walk without a walker. Every time we meet, she tells me, I had no idea something as simple as how I slept could nearly take my life. Here's the science. In the prone position, neck rotation can reduce vertebral artery flow by more than 40%. Chest compression can also reduce lung expansion, leading to low oxygen saturation, which places additional stress on your heart and brain. Obstructed airflow can increase carbon dioxide retention, further altering brain blood flow. A 30-year-old might wake up gasping and readjust, but at 70 or 80, the same drop in oxygen might pass unnoticed, silently setting the stage for a nighttime stroke. If you're in the habit of sleeping on your stomach, I urge you to switch to your side with a firm pillow that keeps your head aligned. Or better yet, sleep slightly elevated on your left side to help protect both brain and heart circulation. These small changes aren't about comfort, they're about survival. What feels cozy might be putting deadly pressure on the very arteries that keep your brain alive. Remember, it's not just about how you sleep, but also where pressure builds while you sleep. Next, we're going to talk about a habit millions of seniors fall into, especially those with hip or shoulder pain, that quietly cuts off blood flow and leads to sudden strokes in the night. It happens on your favorite side, the cocoon of a heavy blanket. There's a small, deeply personal habit that many seniors carry with them into old age, pulling the blanket up over our heads at night. Maybe it's to block out noise, a drafty room, or a too bright light. Or maybe, like many who grew up in colder homes, we find peace under that cocoon of warmth and silence. But for older adults, this small nighttime habit can quietly turn deadly. When you sleep with a heavy blanket over your head, you're not just blocking light or sound, you're limiting airflow. Over the course of the night, oxygen levels drop inside that tiny space. Carbon dioxide, the waste gas we exhale, builds up around your nose and mouth. While your younger body may have tolerated this, at 60, 70 or 80, your heart doesn't recover the same way. Low oxygen and high carbon dioxide during sleep increase your risk of blood thickening. And in vulnerable brains, this can form blood clots. Let me tell you about Mr. Richard Hale, an 81-year-old retired postmaster from Iowa. A quiet, thoughtful man. Richard had been pulling the covers over his head since childhood. His wife gently teased him, but it made him feel safe and relaxed. One morning, his wife, alarmed, found him groggy and unresponsive. His blood oxygen levels were dangerously low, and a scan revealed a silent stroke caused by oxygen deprivation. A clot had formed and lodged deep in his brain, not from atherosclerosis or atrial fibrillation, but from restricted airflow under a heavy blanket. This position also compresses the brachial plexus, a bundle of nerves that runs through your shoulder and down your arm. This can contribute to microvascular damage, the kind that builds quietly until it breaks. Older adults are especially vulnerable because blood vessels stiffen and narrow with age. If you've been sleeping on your right side with your arm underneath, it's time to make a change. Try switching to your left side with your head gently elevated and your arms resting forward. This isn't about comfort, it's about life-altering consequences. The red flag of frequent tossing and turning. As we age, restlessness can sneak in. The inability to stay asleep, the frequent waking, the constant shifting from side to side. You might chalk it up to normal aging. But what if this tossing and turning is a warning sign from your heart and brain and a trigger for a stroke? Sleep is a critical time when the heart and brain restore blood flow, balance pressure, and clear out toxins. When this process is interrupted again and again, especially in older adults, the consequences can be quietly devastating. Every time you move sharply in bed, you're temporarily altering blood flow to and from the heart and brain. In a healthy 30-year-old, this might not matter. But at 70 or 80, with stiffened arteries and fragile vessel walls, each of those movements can create brief periods of reduced circulation. What's more alarming is that frequent movement during sleep may not just be a side effect of poor rest. It may be your heart and brain gasping for balance. I want to tell you about Mrs. Nancy Delgado, a 76-year-old retired piano teacher. For months, Nancy had been waking up exhausted, and her husband noticed she constantly fidgeted in bed. Then came the headaches and early morning dizziness. One night she woke up with a numb hand and slurred words. Imaging revealed a small ischemic stroke caused by intermittent hypoperfusion, temporary reductions in brain blood flow that occurred during her restless movements. Frequent movement during sleep prevents your blood pressure from stabilizing, keeps your cortisol levels elevated, a key trigger for morning strokes, and disrupts the brain's natural cleanup system. It's not just a nuisance, it's a series of silent threats. What can you do? Treat your restlessness as a symptom, not a habit. Avoid late caffeine or alcohol. Keep your room cool and dark, and use a body pillow to cradle your joints. Most importantly, talk to your doctor about a sleep study. If you or your partner notice you're waking often or moving excessively. Nancy now sleeps with a soft cervical pillow and practices slow breathing exercises. Her recovery has been slow, but she tells me, I used to think waking up tired was normal. I didn't realize it was a warning I was ignoring every night. 7. The risky choice of skipping medication. For many older adults, taking daily medications becomes second nature until the night you forget. Or maybe you feel fine and tell yourself, just this once, it won't matter. What you may not realize is that one missed dose, especially before sleep, can turn into a silent danger. For seniors, this can come in the form of an irreversible stroke that arrives before morning without a single warning sign. Your blood pressure follows a natural rhythm, rising in the morning and falling at night. This dipping is how the body resets. But if you have high blood pressure or other cardiovascular conditions, your body doesn't regulate this rhythm well on its own. That's what medications are for. When you skip your evening dose, your blood pressure may spike overnight, often between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., the very hours when most strokes occur. If your vessels are already narrowed, that sudden surge in pressure can cause blood to pool, stagnate, and form clots. I want to tell you about Mr. Harold Green, a 72-year-old retired electrician. He was diligent with his health and took his low-dose blood pressure medication at night. One evening, he got distracted and forgot his pill, telling himself it was no big deal. The next day he woke up feeling strange. His wife noticed his face looked different. He tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. He was suffering a moderate ischemic stroke, likely formed during the early morning when his blood pressure rose unchecked as a result of the missed medication. Harold assumed one skipped dose couldn't do much harm, but in older adults, where arteries are less elastic and blood is thicker, it can be the tipping point. Your heart relies on routine even more than your memory does. Take your medications consistently. Set a reminder. Keep a backup pill organizer by your bed. One skipped pill can be the difference between a stable night and a morning that changes your life forever. 8. The cold room and poor neck support. We often associate cold nights with better sleep. But what if that cold room, especially when combined with poor neck support, was doing more than making you shiver? What if it was quietly restricting blood flow to your heart and brain and increasing your risk of a stroke? As we age, our bodies become less efficient at regulating heat. A cold environment causes vasoconstriction, the narrowing of blood vessels. This effect is most dangerous in the neck, where the carotid and vertebral arteries supply oxygen-rich blood to your brain. Now imagine your neck is bent at the wrong angle on a soft pillow or unsupported entirely. That subtle misalignment, combined with cold-induced vasoconstriction, reduces blood flow to the heart and brain. In an aging body where vessels are already stiffened, this sets the stage for a deadly combination: restricted flow, pooling blood, and clot formation. Let me tell you about Miss Loretta Dixon, a 78-year-old retired nurse. She always preferred a cool bedroom and slept with the window cracked, even in the winter. Her habit was to curl up tightly, her neck slightly tucked into her chest with only a flat pillow. One morning, her son found her partially alert but unable to focus her eyes. She had a brainstem stroke, a particularly dangerous type caused by a clot in the posterior circulation. There was no heart disease, no smoking, no skipped medication. But there was chronic neck compression and cold-induced vasospasm while sleeping. Keep your room cool but not cold. The optimal sleep temperature is around 65-68 degrees, 18-20 degrees. Make sure your neck is properly supported. Use a medium firm pillow that keeps your head aligned with your spine, not angled downward or turned sharply. These small adjustments are acts of protection, keeping your heart and brain nourished while you sleep. Loretta told me I never thought something so simple, the cold my pillow, could hurt my heart and brain. 9. The silent peril of a full belly and a nightcap. Many of us believe that a full belly and a glass of wine help us sleep better. But as a heart health expert, I need to tell you that going to bed right after a heavy meal or alcohol may silently trigger the kind of stroke that robs you of everything. The aging body processes food, alcohol, and stress very differently. When you consume a large, fatty meal late at night, your digestive system works overtime, and blood is redirected from the heart and brain to the gut. This drop in brain circulation can be significant if your arteries are already narrowed. Add alcohol to the equation, and you've created a perfect storm. Alcohol acts as a vasodilator, but as it wears off, your vessels suddenly constrict and blood pressure surges. In older adults, this abrupt shift can lead to arrhythmias and poor oxygen delivery to the heart and brain, quietly raising your stroke risk during sleep. I want to tell you about Mr. Gerald Thompson, a 74-year-old retired farmer. His evening routine was dinner at 7, a glass of bourbon at 8, and bed by 8:30. One winter night, he indulged in a holiday dinner with his usual drink. Around 4 a.m., and his wife awoke to find him cold and unresponsive. A CT scan revealed a massive ischemic stroke. The doctors found elevated post-meal triglyceride levels, dehydrated blood, and constricted vessels from alcohol rebound. That combination had reduced circulation to the heart and brain, just long enough to allow a clot to form, quietly and fatally. Gerald survived, but the stroke stole his ability to speak. If you're going to drink, do so in moderation, ideally earlier in the day. If you enjoy a full meal, allow at least 2 to 3 hours before lying down. Drink water with your dinner and avoid salty, greasy, or sugary foods late at night. Don't mistake drowsiness for healthy sleep. This isn't about never enjoying food or a drink again. It's about respecting what your body needs at this stage of life. Sleep isn't just rest, it's protection. If you've made it this far, thank you. This isn't about fear. It's about power, the power that comes from awareness. At this stage in life, knowledge is not just helpful, it's protective. Every choice you make now, no matter how small, holds more weight than it did decades ago. We've walked through 9 silent habits that may seem harmless, but each one has the potential to slowly and quietly push your heart and brain toward danger. Most strokes that happen during sleep are preventable. They are not inevitable. They are often the result of routines we never questioned. You still have control. You still have the ability to change how you sleep and how you care for your heart and brain. Start tonight. Elevate your head slightly. Sleep on your left side if you can. Support your neck. Skip the late drinks and heavy meals. Take your medications without fail. These are not dramatic changes. They are subtle shifts, but they carry immense weight. You are not too old to change. You are not too far along to protect yourself. And you are never too late to learn how to sleep, not just for comfort, but for survival. As I often tell my patients, it's not about how long you sleep, it's about how wisely you sleep. Tonight, as you lay your head down, ask yourself, is the way I'm sleeping helping my heart and brain or hurting it? Because when you protect your sleep, you protect everything. Your speech, your memory, your balance, your independence. You protect the very essence of who you are, and that is always worth it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.